There's a lot of fun steps that go into designing a pond. First step is obviously meeting with our customers wherever they're looking to put it. Most people have an idea, they've got a spot that they think would be the perfect place, and sometimes that is. Other times we're able to maybe point them in an area that might work a little bit better that they didn't think was possible. So a lot of it's coming down to selecting the site first. Once we get that and we kind of get an idea of what people are looking for, whether that's a recreational pond, whether it's a fishing pond, whether it's a pond to train their animals on with retrieving. Whether they choose one or the other, it's going to dictate how we look at the build and how we're going to try and lay it in there. So first step, let's find a location. After that, we're going to do a topographic survey of it. So we go out there and we shoot points. We're going to shoot points every 10 to 20 feet across the property. Going to make sure you hit the high points, hit the low points to get a good lay of the land, so that we can bring all those points back in, put them on the computer. Once we've got them on the computer, we can see exactly what kind of elevation changes we have. When we have those, we try and utilize the contour lines and the elevation to fit it in where we can minimize the amount of dirt that we need to move to cut down on costs. So it's all about utilizing what the land's giving you. That's going to give you your most cost-effective property, most cost-effective pond. There are times where people have different ideas, and maybe that budget isn't a concern, isn't an option. They want what they want, and we can do that too. But we do try to start out with finding something that's going to fit best. We'll start there. After we get their input on what they're looking for, we'll build something. We can create 3D models to send to them. They can look at them, get a rough idea of what it's going to look like when it's all built. We utilize ag tech and their CAD programs to develop our designs. When we create these, we're going to bring all of our points in first to a TopCon system that's going to translate it into a form that ag tech can read. And so we'll utilize ag tech and look at, again, the ground, the models to see how everything's laying. Like I said, I try to make everything follow the lay of the existing ground. There's nothing worse than going to a pond where someone didn't utilize that and it's super steep walking down to the water. We try and make everything so that it's mobile, that people can maintain what we've built after we're gone. It's important that people take care of those ponds so that we don't have to come back later to fix a leak because they let trees grow up on the backside of the dam because it was too steep to mow in the first place, and they let it go. So there's things that we try and do to make these ponds more usable so that people get the enjoyment out of them that they want. When I bring surfaces in that we've topoed, we bring them in on contour lines. So the contour lines are going to be whatever the elevation is, based upon whether we use a geoid, like a sea level type elevation. So we're going to bring all those in because it's most important to find, well, we got to have to outlet this pond. The outlet side, obviously, we've got to be lower than the water level. So we got to make sure that we've got fall. We got to make sure that we have enough runoff on the surrounding fields that we're going to be able to keep this pond full, that it doesn't evaporate so fast that that pond never fills up and never sees its true potential because it doesn't have enough watershed. Or maybe it does have a tile line that's feeding it that's going to keep it replenished all the time. So there's certain factors that we look at with elevations. We need to make sure that we're meeting all the DNR regulations on dam size, dam heights, that if we get over certain thresholds, we've got to have the DNR put their stamp of approval on it and go through their engineering to make sure that it's going to meet the specifications and codes that they put out there. Other areas are if we're putting in crossings, things like that. Obviously, we've got to have the elevations properly vetted ahead of time, so that if we need to put in certain size pipe, that we can get those, at the front, the inlet to the pond, or maybe on the back side. A lot of what we do when we bring in these designs is we try and work within the confines of what's already there. So beyond ponds, though, we've also done developments. So if an engineer has parceled off a property and we have lots and there's an area where a road needs to go through, it's the same thing. We've got parameters that we need to work within. We're going to design and put those elevations on there so that we get nice, smooth contours, so that it looks well, that you can walk it, that you can mow it, so that you can visualize it. We create those for all of our machines so that everything that we do is precise. All of our machines are going to run off these machine controls that's going to be specific to your property. So when we design this, it's with the intention that our equipment's going to be cutting everything right to grade, that we're not going to have any deviations. We can meet out on site. A lot of the times we'll go out there and shoot water lines so people can see where the water's going to get to on the property once the pond is built. If they like the way that all looks, then you know what, we're going to go to budgeting it. We can finally start putting some dollars to the numbers that we have to move in order to get those built. Once we get to that phase and everyone's good with how everything looks, the lay of it, they're good with the price points, then we're going to start building. So get out there. All of our guys have done a lot of these. We've got a lot of experience building ponds. A lot of the times as you start building, it seems like some owners want to change or tweak. Maybe what they thought looked good on the computer, once it got built, they're not as big of a fan. Let's tweak, let's change. So we'll make a lot of decisions on the fly with owners depending upon what they want. They need something different, or they envision something maybe a little bit different than what it's showing up to begin with. We'll make those changes and put it to exactly the way they want it. After we get everything done, obviously we've got to let everything fill up. Sometimes once the water's filled up, we'll come back and make some additional changes if people want it. If you're looking to build a pond, give us a call. We'll work with you.